Okay, if I yawn, I'm sorry. um, it's been on my mind now for like 3 days. Um, and it just hit me this morning that I woke up and it was like this burning need. I have to uh, do this. So, first, I want to touch on. I'm actually part of this high vibe tribe. I don't know if you guys have. I'll put a link down below to Aaron. He's been a gentleman I've been following now for a couple months, but he's got these amazing meditation videos, and I've done different meditations, but his are quite powerful. And I think it's probably because he's reached so many people. And Aaron, if you ever get to see this video, I I feel compelled, and it's actually been on my mind a lot, especially after I watched your interview last night, which, by the way, was great. And Aaron, you talk about stories a lot, and I think that, because I could kind of feel that you reached like your max for the story you were on with the YouTube videos, and I think I want to challenge you to think about it differently. Those YouTube videos weren't your story. That was a calling. You were being used to get the information out there by the universe. It's not really a story. I mean, think about it. You tell us all the time how many videos you've made. Was it like 2,000 or something? So I think for me, now that I know I've let my past go and my story go, I actually find I'm not really bringing up dates or timelines or, I'm not really bringing up, well, blah, blah, blah. And it hit me because we were at the doctor's and my son needed stitches. And Odin, he's chewing a toy clock. I should stop him. Odin, psst, Odin. Anyways, he's okay. Anyways, yeah, I was at the doctor's and Maverick was having a reaction. Excuse me. Oh, and that's really loud. You're gonna wake up my kids. They're still sleeping. Anyways, I was having to take my son in, and where was I going with this? Oh, right. My son was having a reaction, and I basically just told the doctor, I said, he has a bit of childhood PTSD. And it wasn't like I was saying that where he got it from, right? I didn't feel the need to explain. So when the doctor's like, oh, can you tell me what happened? All I could think of to say, because my story just wasn't there, was, oh, well, we left our abuser about 5-6 months ago. And that was it. And then when people ask you, oh, that must be hard, I'm like, maybe it was. He's dead now, so I'm free. And then people look at you funny. But, sorry, that was kind of cold. I don't mean to be cold about it. It's just, I don't believe that. Anyways, different story, no time. Ask me later. Anyways, I wanted to challenge you, Aaron. I always say your last name probably wrong, so I'm not going to say it. But I don't believe that the YouTube thing was a story. I also don't think you're thinking big enough, because you were mentioning doing live meditations and live things, but Aaron, what if, okay, and this isn't me challenging you. I have not had a spiritual awakening yet, so, take this with a grain of salt. You can enlighten me later. I challenge you that we don't have to have a story anymore in this life. I've given my story up. I'm not taking another. Stories are limiting. Yes, I wear a meaty flesh sack. And yes, I'm limited by what this meaty flesh sack is capable of. But I think between science and between movies, and I'm a huge sci-fi fan, and I've actually written a book, a science fiction book. I'll put a link down below for it. But if you follow it, it's parallel to a spiritual awakening in a way. And I'm almost ready to write book 2, because it's like I can see now. I can see where it's going. What if we could just be spirits or energy in these bodies, experiencing this life every day, but just experiencing it. No attachment to any stories ever. Never making a new story. Just every day's a new adventure. Now, I promised a lady in Aaron's High Vibe Tribe that I'd mention what your higher self is. And I'm going to show you, or I'm going to share, yes, Odin really has to pee. Okay, so, do you hear that? Okay, so, I'm coming. One moment. I'm almost done. I also have to make coffee really funny right now because I'm at a coffee pause and I'm out of money, so I have a big thing of coffee, so not a big deal, but I have to run water through, because I don't have a kettle. I could buy one, don't get me wrong, they're not that expensive. Odin! Okay, fine, you can look outside. Don't bark. So, yeah. I've been running hot water through my Keurig into my French press to make coffee. It's yummy, by the way. It just takes longer. So anyways, my coffee's doing its thing. He wants to go pee, and I have to do this. Anyways, your higher self. This is my version of it, okay? I forget who I was listening to now. I wish I could remember, but I've been doing so much reading and listening, I can't tell you. But your higher self. So in the version, and I love this story. You pick whatever story you want, but I love this ancient Shakti Shiva story. And then, so I was following that, and then ancient, not one of the new modern ones, go way back, before the Romans, Mesopotamia time, okay? Try to find some really cool old stories about these gods and goddesses. They're really fun. And I think there's a lot of magic to them. Because what if, now hear me out, what if before the flood, or before whatever it is that washed all this knowledge away, because there's a lot of knowledge that was washed away. Follow your history, right? So, what if these people like Shiva and Shakti, what if they actually were here and actually were just able to access all those dormant genes, all those dormant energies, unused energies in their bodies to become who they were? What if I can be a spirit living in a fleshy sack, but with no limits? Anyways, I think that should be Aaron's thing. Now, my thing about higher self is this led me to a story from a guru. I can't remember his name, but the whole concept was that source energy had all this power, had all this ability, but it was alone. It didn't have anyone to share their power with. It didn't have anyone to share their love with. And so it took little pieces of itself and like seeds, right? It put it down in places and let it grow and gave those seeds literally everything it needed to be just like them, to be just like Source. Because you are Source. You are the creator. You are the goddess, whatever you want to call it. So that means you're limitless. Yes, your meat sack experience is going to be limited on this planet, but you're just experiencing this. You've logged into a game, you're in your avatar right now, but you can check out of it whenever you feel like and just log back in when you want to. So, Aaron, I challenge you to think bigger. I want you to explore what it would be like to never have a story. And your higher self, my friends, is the part of you that is still out there, that is directly linked to the Source. It's the part of you that's here is not all of you. There's a greater part of you out there that's still connected, that is still with Source, because you are Source. Do you guys get it? You can't give that away because it was a gift given to you. You can disconnect yourself from Source. You can decide not to stay connected to the one that gave you life millennia ago. Or new. I mean, you could be a new soul. So Someone asked me once, okay, let me put it to you this way. Someone asked me once, am I safe to talk to you? Are you a safe place for me? And I had to think about that. Because in my mind, no, those are the kids next door. I had to ask myself, what it was that made me feel like everyone I spoke to who told me their secrets or told me, because it's been my whole life since I was a little kid. I remember even at like 4 and 5 and 6, adults telling me their darkest secrets or their biggest fears, and it's just been something they've always done. And it's because I knew that they just needed to feel like, regardless of the fact that they were afraid or scared, they were still loved. And I could do that as a kid. It wasn't hard. I can do it now. It's still not hard. But it was always a safe place for them. And so when someone asked me that, it made me realize that for me, and I don't know where I go, but somewhere there's this like giant, and I mean it's massive web, okay? And everybody that talks to me, I go to them in the web and they have their own cylinder, okay? And it's not like there's an ending or a beginning to the cylinder. I can't really tell you, but when you go in it, it's like a, I'm gonna go back to gaming because I love gaming, okay? It's like it's like one of those storage sacks, right, that are magical. I'm not gonna use the actual game terminology, I don't want to confuse people, but just pretend you had a magical bag that, like Mary Poppins, like when you stick your hand in and just crazy shit just comes, like where's that shit coming from? That's kind of, right? I mean, that's basically, in a way, that's what our meat sacks are too. So these cylinders were like that as well. And I would go into the cylinder when this person was speaking to me, their cylinder, their space, their world. And sometimes it would be light or dark or full of stuff. And sometimes it would be empty and gray. The ones that were empty and gray, I could tell had disconnected themselves from the lines that connected them to the source. So in a web, you have the structural lines, right, that go to the source. But sometimes there's lines that come directly off of that make the webs in between stronger. And sometimes there's the links between those that make, the other lines stronger. And so some people, though, have cut off all the connections that connect them to the lines that go back to source. They're gray. And then they open themselves up to other entities and energies, whatever you want to call it. And those are the people that need to be recycled. Is that a nice way to put it? Their energy needs to go back and they need to start over because they're lost and they need more than what I can give them, more than what you can give them. So then we'll leave that one to the Creator, right? We leave that one to the universe because they know best, far better than me. So your higher self is a part of you that's still with source or is source. And when you tell somebody that they're in a safe place or you want to feel safe, remember, in the web of life, in the web of the universe, you are your own universe, okay? That is your world. And who you choose to let in it is your choice. Once you're an adult, sometimes we don't get that choice as a kid. But I do know as a kid, when my trauma was really bad, I spent a lot of time outside of my body. And so there's some things I'll never remember. And that gives me hope that there's some things my kids might never remember. But our bodies still remember. So I still had to do the trauma therapy. I still had to do the healing and the somatic releases. And I'm still doing them. But I don't think that it's not me. I'm not the one experiencing the trauma. I'm not the one experiencing the need for the somatic. My fleshy sac needs it. So, again, I go back to you, Erin. Do you need a story? Do we have to have a story? Can we live in the realm of meshy fleet meat? Can we live in the realm of meat sacks without a story? Do I have to have a story? I guess when you play a game, you kind of have to have a story, but it's not a game. I need to explore this. I hope you do too, Erin. I want to hear more. I would love to talk to you about that. Because, yeah, I want to know if it's possible to never have a story. Everyone's so worried in this life about mastering their mind and doing this and doing that. What if we just let it all go? Like, I'm gonna let it all go. I need to do some exploring. Anyways, this video went way longer than I expected. I'm gonna go now and finish coffee and take Odin outside. I hope you guys have a great day. Oh, I'm getting pod. Who's Odin? Who's an Odin? He's Odin because I have a Freya. And I love that story. He's getting pod again. I love you, Odin. You wanna go pee-pees? You wanna go pee-pees? Yeah. Alright, I gotta go. I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.